So, all right, here we are, guitar 2. And yes, I still have my electric recliner behind me, although it's getting ready to graduate from my home. What we have here today, we have some of you who are just jumping in for the first time to guitar 2. Not for the first time. What I mean is everyone else is continuing from guitar 1. And so, I'm going to just kind of bridge that gap. Today's theme is all about bridging the gap because if you're in the Perform with Confidence practice challenge, that's our challenge today, is bridging the gap between practice and performing. But where I want to start is with our straight G progression. And I'm just going to kind of give you an overview of what we're going to do today first so that you have it in your mind. And so we're going to review the straight G progression. Then we're going to learn the G6 and some of these movable chords. We're also going to learn the D7 up here. So then the progression will turn into this. Sorry. And then we'll learn a different chord every 2 beats. That's what we're going to do today. Now, there are a couple of things in your handout, which, hello, Eric and Emily, and who else did I just let in? Oh, that was it. Okay. Did everyone get a hold of the handout that's in the guitar handouts folder? Let me go ahead and drop it in the chat just in case. Okay, it's called Guitar. There are 2 handouts in there for you. One is just a sheet of chords, and the other one is our class for today. The one I just dropped in the chat is the class for today. So when you go into the folder here, these are your Guitar 2 resources. Guitar 1 plus 2, that's just a handout of shapes. And I left a couple empty ones here for you to put in. Maybe there will be some chords you haven't seen before that aren't in the handout. And then what I just dropped in the chat is this handout, which is exactly what we'll be spending time doing today. We're also going to apply all the same chords that we do in the G progression to Red Wing. So you can start figuring out, okay, how can I apply these? Okay, now there is one thing that I want to start with that will kind of help us check, do I know all my 7th chords? And the reason I want to do this is because when you're playing guitar, that's where, or any rhythm instrument, that's where the circle of fifths really becomes relevant. Raise your arm if you know what the circle of fifths is. Okay, if you don't know what the circle of fifths is, it's a way of organizing key signatures. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to be sharing this document. I'll put this in your folder too if you don't have it yet. Okay, so circle of fifths, here we are, is a great way to organize key signatures. And so you can see how at the top of our circle we have the C. we're going to come all the way down here. We're going to start on E. And as soon as this E, we're going to play the E. And then we're going to make it into an E7. And then that E7 leads us to A. And then we make the A an A7, and it leads us straight to D. We make the D a D7, it leads us straight to G. We make the G a G7, and it leads us straight to C. So I have also written out these chord shapes for you because some of them might be new to you. So let me pull those up really quick so you know where they are in the sheet. So little logistical bookkeeping here before we jump in. If you scroll to the back of these handouts, the circle of fifths is where we're going to start. And as you can see here, I gave you two options for the A7 shape, whether you want to do the bar across or the simpler one. And we're going to go around the circle all the way to F. So I thought this would be a nice way to start and to also train our ear and our hand to go where we want it to go. When these chords become 5 chords, they are really leading us only to one spot. And so that's what I want you to see. So let's build an E chord. And as we pick strum, we're going to pick, let's pick 4 times and let's let our hand bounce straight up like we're shaking a hand. 1, 2, ready, go. Good. Now we're going to put in the strum, strumming through all the strings and circling up. Fingers in an E chord. Now we're going to rotate the bass note. Sorry. Now lift your ring finger, that's an E7. That big A with the 4th finger, awesome, awesome. If you're just smooshing down the 1st finger, awesome, awesome. Let's go to the C sharp bass note. And real quick on that A chord, I just want to say that I'm basically barring the D, G, and B string with my 1. I'm not worried about getting that E string in there at all. So be sure that you're only mashing down those strings. Now we're going to go to an A7. I'm going to put my 3rd finger right here. You can also put your 2nd finger there. Now this chord leads us to D. Now we're on a D chord. Rotate your bass note. 7. So I want you to replace your middle finger with your third finger, your ring finger, then place your 2 on the A string, kind of like you're building those first 2 notes of the G chord, but with different fingers, and then place your 1 on the high E. And this chord leads you to C. Now let's go to a C7. So you're going to place your pinky on the G string, the only string that doesn't have a finger on it in the middle there. And that leads you to F. So let's talk about the F for a second, because if you took Guitar 1, we haven't really talked about this yet. 2 ways that you can do F. You can lead with your ring finger, and you're building, basically, if you make your C chord and then scoot every finger over a string, then you're going to bar the E and the A. I'm sorry, the E string and the B string. And if you're playing, this would be called, I would call this the short F, because we don't use all the strings. You're going to pluck the D string and then the G string. Now, if you have smaller hands, all the ladies out there, I pull my palm in to gain strength to bar. And so unlike fiddle, we can pull our hand in to give ourselves counterweight. Okay, let me take a look at everyone. Do you have the F chord? Yeah, look at all these happy faces. All right, cool. See, that's not so bad. Now, let me grab Louisa's question.
So the C7, I mean, you totally didn't say anything about how to do that, and it's impossible.
The C7?
Yes,
Can I see your C chord?
yes. Whoops.
Yeah, okay, now take your pinky finger and put it on the next string over from your middle finger. That's C7.
Oh, okay. Well, you have the E string covered too.
We're gonna get to that. So that other one is in red, and the lower one. So if some printers might have just printed out in black, that is
Okay.
optional. Imagine a parentheses there. We're gonna get to that in a second as we move that chord.
Okay.
Okay, so now let's all build our F again. And the other way to do F is, I just love, it's so lovable. So you're gonna hold this shape, but you're gonna lift your ring finger and place your pinky there. And then add your third finger on the 3rd fret on the A string. That's what I would call, in my mind, I think of that as a long F, because I'm covering, that voicing is covering so many strings. And then, you know, of course you can do the bar. I don't play bar chords personally, I use my thumb. So if you want that low note, you can just barrel your thumb around there. This is not a super technical guitar class. This is on the street guitar playing. So this is, a lot of the Texas guys use this thumb. Now, when you get into a chord like this, it can really add a lot of tension to your hands. And sometimes I think this is where the swing players started doing the pulse. So I want to go ahead and show you this pulsing of the left hand that works really well on chords that are movable. So chords that are movable are pushing down, your fingers are pushing down enough strings that you aren't going to have any open strings as you move up the neck. So let's do this without the thumb. And what you're going to do is we're going to now get in a strum pattern. Strum, 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 strum. And we're going to lift our fingers when our hand is at the bottom of the hole, the sound hole. We lift our fingers, then we press them. Good. Shake out your hand. Shake out your hand. Okay, let's go back to our E chord now. This is just a little exercise that I came up with that I use a lot to teach people about how chords flow from one to the next. And you really want to develop this circle of fifths instinct. So we're going to start on the E. We're going to do one measure of each chord, which means pick, strum, pick, strum. And once again on your picks, be sure that you're bouncing straight up. Be sure we're not going out like this. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, E chord. E7. Very good. Very, very, very good job. Questions?
F7? No F7?
I
No.
decided to stop at F because I still wanted you all to like me.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Okay, for those of you who want more, I want you to work on this exercise. I want everyone to work on it to be sure that you have those chord shapes. But if those are already chord shapes you know, I've also included Tennessee waltz chords in D, Tennessee waltz chords in G, where I made a list of like, okay, if you can play all these chords, you're going to be in really, really good shape. To me, if you can play Tennessee waltz in 2 keys, you're going to learn a lot of chords that you need to know. So in this class, we're going to focus on a lot of movable stuff, and I'm going to trust you all that you're going to be sure you leave this class knowing a B minor chord and an F chord and probably the C sharp diminished. Okay, so have that in the back of your head. All right, we're going to do the circle of fifths one more time, and then we're going to jump right into some fiddle tunes. I'm going to get a little video of this so that it'll be in your play along playlist, which is super nifty.
When we're practicing this, Katie, should we try and get a walk up in between every chord change?
That would be the next variation. So
Okay.
how about we do it once without, and then I'll do it again with the walk-ups, so that you all can find these walk-ups because they're pretty intuitive. Thank you for asking that, Laura. Okay, here we go. And you know what? I'm so sorry. This is really bothering me that I did not fold my blanket behind me, so I need to get that out of the shot. Okay. Here we go. Starting on the E chord. Okay. Circle of fifths. A 1, 2, 3, 4. E7. A. A7. D. D7. G. G7. C. C7. B. F. Sorry. One more time. 2, 3, 4. With some walks. 2, 3, 4. So putting in the walks, I'm not really doing the seventh chords as much. Walking from E to A, second fret, fourth fret, open. Walking from A to D, you're going to be walking on the A string. You're going to go to the second fret, and then the fourth fret, and then open D. Then walking from D to G, you're going to do open E. You can use your first finger, and then you can go to your 2. Walking to your C, you start on your G, then go to C, or go to an open A, go to open A, B, C. Walking to F, you're just going to use both those notes behind where your third finger would go for that short F. So that's nice to know where those walks are. I don't care if you know what those notes are named. I just want you to decide which fingers you're going to use so that anytime you're walking from E to A, you always know, okay, I'm using my second finger and my pinky, or my first finger and my third. So all you really need to do here is kind of decide which fingers you're going to use, and to be able to feel, okay, I'm going to get in one pick strum and then do the walk. Questions? That'll be a great exercise for you all. Debbie?
I didn't see that second handout. And while I know what the circle of fifths is about, I don't have it memorized. So I wasn't sure where you were going in that progression.
Aha. So, okay. So you're going to I'm going to put the circle of fifths in the folder for you.
Okay.
And it's also written out in this handout.
Yeah, that's the one. I didn't see that earlier. I just saw the chords. So somehow I missed that handout.
I might have put it in after you looked.
Okay. All right.
It's in there. But here's the thing. The circle of fifths, Debbie, is the same as your fiddle strings. So if you think of your fiddle strings, you have E, that leads to A, which leads to D, which leads to G. And if we had a C string, if we're a violist or a 5-string, we'd go to C and then F. So each one of these are E, F, or sorry, let's see, A, B, C, D, E. They're five steps apart. And so once you memorize this, you'll never have to memorize it again. You only memorize it once and then you know it. So we're going to touch on this more next time as after everyone has a chance to kind of like look at all of this. But Jean, what is your question?
So Katie, when you choose a finger to do your walk-up bass line, do you choose that finger based on like if you were playing like a G scale, and like if you were walking up on G, would the finger that you choose follow the scale pattern that you would use if you were playing a scale?
It's a very good question, Jean. For me, I do whatever's easiest for me. And so ultimately, if I'm walking from E to A, I'm either going to do my pinky to my 4 or my 1 to my 3. And so generally, if you're skipping a fret, you'll skip a finger. But if you're not skipping a fret, you'll let each finger have its own fret.
Okay,
So
thank
it's
you.
not as technical as you want it to be, you know, or as fiddle is, not like you want it to be. There is more freedom here, but ultimately, if you're skipping a fret, skip a finger. Okay, good questions. Okay, I'm going to be tying in the circle of fifths in different contexts as we go to our G progression. So it will never be left behind. All right. The straight G progression is something that was a prerequisite for this class, but it's something that I never get tired of it. I love reviewing this progression. This is going to go with Leather Breeches. It's going to go with the A part of The Girl I Left Behind Me, the A part of Walk Along John, the A part of Sally Johnson, Bitter Creek, so many tunes. So let's go ahead. Raise your arm if you know the straight G progression. You're familiar with it. Okay, I'm not too worried about Tony. All right, let's try this together. And what I've pulled up here is a Terry Morris recording of Leather Breeches. I've slowed it down to 70% and I've tuned it because a lot of these old fiddle recordings were on cassette tapes or records, and so they're out of tune. So I tuned it to the guitar. Okay, what I'd like to do, can you all hear This is actually from a vinyl record, so you can hear the crackling, which personally I love. All right, so 1, 4, 1, 5, 1, 4, 5, 1. Let's play it once together before we put in the track. And so on the G, note that we're rotating the bass notes, and this is what the red stars are for on the chord chart. So like for instance, if you're looking at this here, you're going to pluck this G note or this B note. And I just rotate between the two. So I go bum, bum, then on the C chord, bum, bum, on the G back to bum, bum, D, bum, bum, G, bum, 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 bum. And we'll do a walk here. On that extra D, we'll go walk to G. So we'll go D, D, walk to G. So again, 2, 3, 4. G, C, G, D, G, C, D, walk to G and G. All right, so we're gonna play this with Terry Morris. Here's Leather Bridges. Hold on, let me get it a little slower. Go a little slower. That's at 70%. Let's go to 63. Here we go. as a guitar player, that's where you start. And if you decide, like, to me, if I'm playing fiddle and someone doesn't do anything fancier than that and they keep great time, I am going to have a freaking blast. I'm going to love it so much. And if someone is doing all this fancy stuff and like slowing down and speeding up, that's not going to be fun for me. I'm not going to call them to jam again. So as you put fancy things in your guitar playing, it's important to remember that at a jam, especially up to full speed, playing just exactly what we did is awesome. That's awesome, awesome, awesome. And I jam with Sydney Green all the time. She's my favorite person to jam with. She barely plays any fancy chords, and her time is just so good. So in this class, we're going to be focusing a lot on chords because I know you all are getting going on guitar playing and really diving in, but really, really know that at the core of everything, your right hand and your strum is the most important thing, bar none. Like, there's just no compromise on that. Okay, so with that being said, we're gonna learn some fancy chords. Okay, so I want you to learn the G6 chord. This chord is cool because if you're playing any swing tune, Sugar Moon, Maiden's Prayer, Take Me Back to Tulsa, you're gonna know a swing chord. But this is a chord that all the Texas guitar players use. So it starts with our middle finger, where a G would normally be. And then normally your 1 is here, but I want you to just move that up a string. And you're gonna kind of mute that A, all right? Then you're gonna place your pinky on your G, and your ring finger will go on your B string on the 3rd fret. So if you want me to see your chord, go ahead and hold it up to the screen, and I'm happy to look at your hand. Good, Ingrid? Yeah. Good. Good, Laura. Excellent. Jean. Fantastic. Yes, Louise. Yeah, Emily. Tony, you look like a pro on this chord. All right, Debbie.
Where's the index finger go?
The index finger, the first finger,
Yeah.
that is going to go on the 2nd fret on the D string. So we just scooted it up a string from where it was normally. Yep.
I don't think I have it.
So are you plucking your D string? That's it.
Okay, I was up 1.
Yeah,
Okay.
cool. All right. So this is your G6. On this G6, you're going to pluck the same bass note each time. Oh, you know what? Hey, I just noticed on my notation of it, because sometimes people bar those two, the A and the D with the 1. I forgot to put in the other one. So that 1 that's in there, you can just move it over a string. I don't think I did that right. Yeah. Okay, so now this is our G6. So now let's do the G progression with the G6. So starting out here, now go to your C, leading with your ring finger. Lead with your middle finger back to the G6. 2, 1, 4, 3. So your middle finger and your ring finger are on the same fret. That's the D chord. Now lead with your 2 back to the G6. C. D. Walk to G. And again, G, 6, C, G, D, G, look at my hand on this and I think it looks like a spider cord. So this is in honor of Halloween. If your hand looks like a spider, you're doing it right. Ingrid.
I think I might have missed something. I think you're not playing the high E string when you're playing the G6.
Correct. Yeah, that's exactly right. I'd never mentioned that, so you're exactly right.
Okay. How do you muffle it? Or
I
do you
just
just
don't.
not play it?
I just don't play it.
Okay.
Yeah. So when you're playing this chord, if you go up a fret with it, move everybody up a fret. Now you're on an A flat 6. And like Ingrid pointed out, we're not hitting the high string. Go up a fret and you're on the A. A6. Go up a fret and now you're on B flat. Okay, let's go down. A flat, G. So that, my friends, is a movable chord. It's not the easiest one, so good job over there getting that. Shake out your hand. Louise. Oh, can you unmute?
How are you muting the A string? Okay, so I understand. I mean, I'm confused.
I'm
Where?
the A with my first finger, and so it's just kind of brushing on it.
Well, then how with your first finger? But your first finger's on the third string.
Yes. So I
So-
I flatten out my finger.
Okay.
You can also bar those two if you want.
Okay.
Do you want to
Okay.
play your chord, Louise?
No. No, it's not. It's not exactly working, but it will.
You
Okay.
can also mute it with your middle finger if that works better for your body. You can also lean your second finger onto the A string.
Okay.
That might be easier. So again, with this guitar stuff, we experiment, like what works best for my hand. Okay, Debbie.
So when you strum that, are you strumming more than one bass note, or are you just strumming the G?
I'm strumming through all 5 strings.
So
I'm
you're,
coming back up to grab that low E.
and that's all you're using is the low E to pick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that G note is our pick both times.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. All right. So let's try now G progression with Terry Morris with the G6. Now, for those of you who are ready for more, I want you to do your D7. Up here on the 5th fret. And then Tony, what you can do is take that 3 over. And this is where we can all try this together. Even if you're not ready for this, you can do it isolated out of the song. So you all build your C7 and then go up 1 fret to C sharp 7, 1 more fret to D7. Now, on the sheet, you see how I have 2 third fingers on there. First, we're going to do the third finger in position, and then we're going to lift it and bring it to the E string. love that our third finger is leaning on the A string to mute it. So we're going to do this progression a lot of times now with Terry. And first, I want you to look at how the how the G6 can be replaced. All the G's can be replaced by G6s. And then once you get that, you can take the D and come up here and do the D7. So we'll play this now and see how far we get. Here we go. Yeah. How did we do getting in those closed chords? Did anyone get them in? Okay, tell me what your challenges are. Is it just getting to the chord on time? Just building it?
Muscle memory of the G6 is very unfamiliar to me, so I just got to get it out of the brain and into the hand, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ingrid,
What Laura said.
what was
Yeah.
that?
What Laura said.
Yeah.
I just got to get that chord in my head because right now I'm missing half of it every time.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, yeah, it's one thing to have it in your head, but to be able to access it quickly, you know,
Yeah.
that It's just going to take a lot of iterations of practicing it.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for the feedback. So, little tip on memorizing chords. Always think about what finger is leading you there. And so in this case, it's the middle finger. And then it's the one, whether you have it on the A and the D or just the D. And then it's the 4. So with this particular chord, it's weird. I actually aim, the 4 is the least important. So if you just aim the 3 fingers, you'll have a really good. In fact, Adam was pointing out to me that Freddie Green, this is a Freddie Green chord because he played mostly 3-note chords. And so if the pinky gets there, great, but like, let's aim for getting the 1, the 3, and the 2, leading with the 2. So that can be a nice way to get into it. Okay, so G6 is going to be big homework. That's big homework because that chord, when it's sugar cane time, long around about you, that chord's going to take you the distance. Okay, so now let's jump to, we talked for a moment about this C7, moving it to C sharp, moving it to D7. One thing I want to point out is that in the progression, I often will go to the A in the bass first and then to the D. So that would sound like. Try that together. You can choose whether to do a G6 or just a normal G. 1, 2, ready, go. Then practice that movable D7 before the G6 because it's going to be much easier to practice moving your hand around on that chord since it's already familiar. Okay, so the next step, we're going to push forward here because we've got a couple of people who already know all that. So if this is new to you, keep what I've said so far. You don't have to pay attention to everything I'm about to say. Somebody had a question.
Sorry, I have a quick question.
Emily.
Sorry. I don't think I'm doing the right bass notes for G6.
Let's hear it.
Or I know I can't play the A, but it's like like I don't know what to.
You know what I'll do is I'll actually scoot my first finger over if I want a different bass note. And I'll just bar it so that I get that nice G bass note in there.
So you kind of roll it up to get it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, or just repeat the G.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
All right. Now, Jean.
See. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Before we move on, that D chord that we just played, I'm looking at this Guitar 2 chord shape, and I'm not familiar with how this is the name of the chord. It looks like D sharp with a 0. How do you read that? Is that diminished, or is that
That's the diminished.
that's the diminished?
That's
That's
the
not the
chord.
one we did.
No, we did
I didn't see the D7th chord on here.
the D7 is in the G progression variation 2.
Oh, okay.
In the handout from today, are you looking at the guitar 1 and
I'm
2
looking at,
chords?
yeah, I don't think it's in the folder yet.
Yeah, it's in there now, but it might not have been in there earlier. But you'll have it when you go
Oh,
back.
okay.
Okay, so let's go to D sharp diminished. So play your D. All right, now what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your first and second finger and move them over a string. So now you have an A7. That's perfect. That's what we want. Then put your third finger, your ring finger, in between those two, and your fourth finger on the high E. And now take that down a fret. This diminished chord repeats every 3 measures, or 3 frets. So go up 1 fret, go up 2 frets, go up 1 more, okay, now you're gonna take this shape and scoot all the way down. Let's go back to that second fret. Now you're going to scoot every finger over a string. So now we're only going to play the middle strings. We're going to call this a G9. This chord has like 8 different names. It's also called a B half diminished. But here's where we use this chord. And so if you're on this chord, here's what I want you to memorize. It looks like a parallelogram. 1 and 2 are on the same fret. 3 and 4 are on the same fret. So go ahead and hold your fingers in that position as I show you what we do. So now the G progression becomes this: G6, G9, C, G6, G9, D7, G6, G9, D7. So even if you're playing a G major right now, whatever G you're playing, or G6, your 1 is going to be on that B note. Skip a string and there goes your 2. Your 3 goes in the middle, and then your 4. So you want to practice going G, G9, G, G9. So leave your 1. Your 1's in place. You're going to move your 2. Lead with your 2. Lead with your 1 and 2. Lead with your 1 and 2, let your 3 and 4 fall down. This chord is very useful because we're going to be using it in when we get into Maiden's Prayer and Milk Cow Blues. We're up here on the A7. Oh, somebody just unmuted.
Oh, sorry.
Let's see.
That was me. I'm sorry.
Okay. When you get up here to the A, we use those same shapes. A6, A9. That's a major Western swing chord that we're going to use both in the A position and in the G position. So I know a lot of chord shapes that are new here. Louise.
So the G9 is on the first fret though, right? Or you're playing it on the second, but your diagram shows it, I think, on the first.
Oh yeah, I need to fix that.
Okay, so what about the ones before that? There's G6, G9, G6, G9. I am very confused. This is on the variation 2 page.
What are you confused about exactly?
G6, G9.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not on, they're all on the second fret, not the first. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah.
All right.
I'll correct that and put it in the folder.
Okay, sorry.
So your first finger, if you look at the G6 chord, your first finger is on the second fret. Or if you're on a G chord, your first finger is on the second fret. When you go to the G9, all that's happening is we're taking out the root because we need that finger to go over here. So that's why that sounds so jazzy, is because we're taking out the root. Now to get comfortable with this, let's scoot it up a fret. Whoa, holy jazz. Let's go up another fret. Those are some pretty jazzy sounds. And let's go up another fret. This is what makes a chord movable. Up another fret. One more. All right, let's come back down to our G6. Nice, Liz. Cool. All right, G9. Great. C. For those of you who want more, if you don't, just ignore this. C sharp diminished. Lead with your 2. Third finger. First finger on the 3rd fret, and then 4th. So my second finger is on the A string on the 4th fret. Next string up, my 3rd finger is on the 5th fret. Next string up, my first finger is on the 3rd fret. Next string up, my 4th finger is on the 5th. So my 3rd and 4th finger are both on the 5th fret. And this is again only the center 4 strings. We practice getting to this chord from a C. And And then our second finger skims up that A string, leading us to the 4th fret, and then all the other fingers fall behind. Back down to C. Now up 1 fret with the 2. Let your 3 fall down, your 1 and your 4. Your second finger's on the bottom. So always lead from C. So here's what we're going to do. C to C sharp. Let's just get that from 3rd finger, up a fret with the 2nd finger. Yeah. Lead with your middle finger. Now that 3rd finger is going to go right next to that 2nd finger. So your 3rd and 2nd finger go up a fret and they trade spots. Back down to C, 3 and 2. Now up a fret, lead with your 2, 2 and 3. Yeah, back down to C. Now 2 to the 3. C. 2 and 3. Now your 1 is already back here. So you're gonna be on the 3rd fret with that 1st finger. All right, so down to C. Your 2 leads, your 3 swaps, and your 1 is gonna be right in place. It's gonna want to go down. Back down to C, 3, 2, and go ahead and build your whole chord. Now let your 2 lead you up. This is how to practice changing chords. Your 3 swaps, your 1 goes down. Sounds good. See ya. And now your 4 skips a string. So see how I'm teaching each finger what to do. I'm not expecting my body to get all 4 fingers at once. I'm teaching 1 finger at a time.
Which chords are these?
With any of your chords.
Sorry, which chords are these again?
C to C sharp diminished. So we have a C in the bass and then a C sharp in the bass. So here's your C and then C sharp diminished. So the groove I just went through of, okay, here's how to teach your hand how to do a chord. That's what you want to do with yourself. But, you know, no more than 2 new chords in one practice session, I would say. That's really, really enough for one practice session. But for right now, since we're here together, we've gone through it, I know you're going to get these chords. I want to make a little practice video of building each new chord that we've gone through today and going from one chord to the next. So grab your guitars. We're going to start with the G6 shape. And so for this one, where am I going to come from? Okay, for the G6 chord, I'm going to memorize that my middle finger and my 3rd finger are on the same fret. My 1 is behind and my 4 is 1 up. I want to be able to get to my G6 from my C chord. So coming from my C chord, my middle finger is going to lead. Now my 1 is going to come across the strings. My 4 jogs up. And my 3 lands on the B string, matching my middle finger. C chord. Back to G6. C. chord. My middle finger leads. My 1 hops over 1 string. My 3 stays in position. And my 4 goes down. Back to D. That ring finger can stay in position. Very good. Yeah. Hold your ring finger down. Okay. Now we're gonna work the G6 to the G9. Now going to the G9, my 1 leads. My 2 pops up and skips a string. 3 and 4 plop down together. Back to G, my middle finger leads. My 1 pops up a string. My 3 pops way over. Last I put down my 4. Back to G9, let your 1 lead, your 2 hops over. Back to G6, lead with your 2nd finger, pop your 1 up a string. Lead with your 2, lead with your 1. These are perfect. I'm making you little 1.5-minute videos. Okay, now we're gonna practice going. C to C sharp diminished. C to C sharp diminished. Here's your C chord. Now the 2 leads us up to C sharp. The 2 and 3 swap spots. So you come from here to here. Just your 2 and 3. Just switch spots and go up a fret. Okay, now let's put down our 1, whole C chord. Lead with your 2. Swap your 3, add your 1. Back down to C. Leading with your 3. Now lead with your 2. Good. Up with your 2. Now we're going to add our 4. Your 4 is on the same fret as your 3rd finger. Lead with your middle finger, C sharp diminished. This is a good Halloween lick. All right. Now let's do the D7. Walk to G. All right, so now we're on the D7, which is your C7 shape up 2 frets. And we're going to do the rotation down to the A. Good. Then to open E, walk to G. Find that D7 again. Walk to G. D7. to D. And you can just practice this rotation too. Okay, this is D7. A in the bass. D in the bass. A in the bass. Okay, let's do the whole progression now. I'm going to start completely open and then I'm going to build as I think you'll want to build. So, here we go. G progression, open chords. 2, 3, 4. Now we'll add the closed D7. Now we'll add the G6. D7. Now reverse the D7 bass note. Yeah. Okay, add the C sharp diminished. Now add the G9. A little surprise in there for you. When you have the G progression memorized, that's step number 1. Being able to play it in great time and is something you're going to do all the way because you're all fiddlers. And so you all know everything there is to know about what it's like to play with a good solid guitar player. So you're going to have that. Everyone's at a different place in their path. So like for instance, if you're coming into this and you're like, oh, I barely know the G progression by heart, you're not going to get all the way to the end of that video. We want you to know the G progression by heart, and then maybe you can add in the D7 up high. There's no pressure to learn at all. If you came into this class and you're like, I know that by heart, I'm adding the G6, but that's a little hard. D7, I think I can wrap my brain around that. G9 and C sharp diminished, those just are like feel way beyond me. That's going to be your path. Stick with adding the G6 and the D7. If you're feeling like, okay, I've got this, do it all. Tony, I know that's you. Your goal is to play before the beat or exactly on the center of the beat. You want to play on the center of the beat. We'll talk more about rhythm and timing next week. But questions. How you doing? Eric.
You know how I said guitar was way easier than fiddle? Forget I ever said that.
Talk to you in 3 days. I bet you'll have a change of heart.
Okay.
Okay, so I leveled out kind of for you all where you can figure out where you fit in. The goal is not to get everything. The goal is to meet yourself on your path where you are and strengthen whatever step needs to be strengthened where you're at. One thing that you'll be able to do for fun, and I'll play this for you in closing, is Red Wing. Because I've taught you all of the closed chords for this now, almost all of them. I'm going to make a little bit for those of you who might want to be taking these chords into Red Wing. And with that all being said, I think you've got plenty to work on until next week. Oh, yay. I'm glad that you had some epiphanies. Okay, so here is Red Wing, and then we will close it out. I know I said this was just going to be an hour, but sorry. Okay, Red Wing. Ba-da-ba-bum, ba-da-da-da-da. A little faster. Bum, ba-dum, bum, bum. There's a little preview for next week. Please come back. No, just kidding. Great job. Great job.